Welcome everyone. In this lecture, we are going to see time division multiple access. That is, in satellite access, we have seen the FDMA, then FDMA analysis for uplink and downlink. Now, the time division multiple access. With time division multiple access, only one carrier uses the transponder at one time, and therefore intermodulation products which results from the non-linear amplification of multiple carriers are absent. This leads to one of the most significant advantage of TDMA, which is that the transponder traveling wave tube can be operated at maximum power output or saturation level. Because the signal information is transmitted in burst, TDMA is only suited to digital signals. Digital data can be assembled into burst format for transmission and reassembled from the received burst through the use of digital buffer memories. So we can see here the basic TDMA concepts in which the stations transmit burst in a sequence. So burst synchronization is required, and in the system one station is assigned solely for the purpose of transmitting reference burst to which the others can be synchronized. The time interval from the start of one reference burst to the next is termed as the frame, and one frame contains the reference burst R and the burst from the other earth station, and these being we can see in the diagram as A, B and C. So here we can see the time division multiple access frame, and using the reference stations of post synchronization we can see that this is the satellite broadcast stations from which we can see to the earth stations. For example, it may consider as earth station A, B and C respectively, and this is the reference stations. So all the frames are synchronized here, like that. For there may be synchronization for this station A, this A1, A2, A3. So like this they are arranged here. So what we said earlier is that stations will be transmit burst in the sequence. So we are always sending them in a sequence like this. We have seen here that for the respective earth stations all the frames are sent in the sequence here, so that there may be burst synchronization. So the basic principle of burst transmission for a single channel that we can illustrate here, and the transmission appears continuous because the input and output bit rates are continuous and equal. However, within the transmission channel, input bits are temporarily stored and transmitted in burst. Since the time interval between burst is the frame time TF and the required buffer capacity, we calculate here M as is equal to RB into TF, where TF is the frame time. The buffer memory fills up at the input bit rate RB and during the frame time interval. These M bits are transmitted as a burst in the next frame without any break in the continuity of the input. So this is the basic principle of burst mode transmission, where we have seen that there are linking two continuous mode streams, where for the time interval TB, this is M bits are transmitted for the time interval TB and TF is the frame time. So the M bits are transmitted in the burst time TB, and the transmission rate which is equal to the burst bit rate. Transmission rate is here equal to the burst bit rate, and that we calculate as rate of TDMA is equal to M by TB, or that can be written as RB into TF, ratio of frame time to TB time, that is the M bits transmitted for TB time, burst time. Now this is also referred to as the burst rate, and but note that this means the instantaneous bit rate within a burst is not the number of bursts per second, which is simply equal to the frame rate. It will be seen that the average bit rate for the burst mode is simply M by TF. M is the number of bits transmitted per frame, and which is equal to the input and output rates. The frame time TF will be seen to add to the overall propagation delay. For example, in the simple system that we have seen, burst system, that is burst mode transmission linking to continuous mode stream. Into this, what we can see that we have transmitted the signal for time t intervals, and these are the buffer stores which will store the m number of bits, and this is the burst bit rate rtdma, and for the frame time tm. From this basic principle, we can see that even if the equal propagation delay between the transmit and receive buffers is assumed to be 0, that is what we want to see here is, even if the actual propagation delay between the transmit and receive buffers is assumed to be 0, the receiving side would still have to wait a time tf before receiving the first transmitted burst. Okay, with 0 propagation delay, still tf have to be wait for time tf before receiving the first transmitted burst. So in a geostationary satellite system, the actual propagation delay is a significant fraction of a second, and excessive delays from other causes must be avoided. This sets an upper limit to the frame time, although with current technology other factors restrict the frame time to well below this limit. That is, there may be some of the other propagation delays will get included. The frame period is usually chosen to be a multiple of 125 microseconds, which is the standard sampling period used in pulse code modulation telephony systems. So already we know that Nyquist frequency, and since this ensures that the PCM samples can be distributed across successive frames at the PCM sampling rate. So the multiple, what we are seeing is the frame period is chosen in terms of 125 microseconds, multiples of 125 microseconds. Some of the basic units in TDMA ground station, which for discussion purposes that we labeled here with the earth stations, and accordingly we are going to see that terrestrial links coming into earth station A carry digital traffic addressed to destinations. Stations that are stations may be B, C, X, or in the diagram that we have seen, there are destined stations are B, C and X. It is assumed that the bit rate is the same for the digital traffic on each terrestrial link. In the units labeled terrestrial interface modules, and the coming continuous bit rate signals are converted into the intermittent burst rate mode. That we can see into this, the equipment, one basic equipment is shown here in TDMA system, where transmit terrestrial interface modules are transmitted T0B, T0C. This is a multiplexer, and for the after phase modulation, this is a full phase modulator transmitted. This is the burst transmission through this antenna. The burst will be transmitted here. Here is one of the preamble generator is given. So the destination here given is destination is X. This is destination B, C and X. With the one earth station, that is A, we are transmitting from A to B, C and X. So this is the receive terrestrial, this is the transmit terrestrial interface module, and this is receive terrestrial interface modules. Again in that we have receiving from B, C and X, as we are transmitting from B, C, X from the transmit module. At the receiver end we are again receiving here. Before that we have to demultiplex the given data, that is at the receiver. After the frame reception from the antenna, we have at the receiver end there is phase demodulator, then preamble detector to transmit and receive timing units, and then send to the demux. After that they will be destined to the respective destination stations, that is B, C and X. So these individual burst mode signals are time division multiplexed. In the time division multiplex, so that traffic for each destination station appears in its assigned time slots within a burst. Certain time slots at the beginning of each burst are used to carry timing and synchronization information, and these time slots collectively are referred to as the preamble. That is, some time slot will be reserved for timing and synchronization, and these slots are referred to as preamble. The complete burst containing the preamble and the traffic data is used to phase modulate the radio frequency carrier. That is, one burst will have the preamble time slot as well as the traffic data time slot. Thus, the composite burst, which is transmitted at RF frequency, consists of a number of time slots that we can see. With reference to this, the burst will contain what are the parts of a burst. So in this we can see that there is one burst which will include the reference burst. Then for the station A burst, we are sending from station A. This is the station A burst, which will include the preamble and then traffic data. So in the reference burst, we can see that these time slots are guard times, and this is for the carrier and beat timing recovery. Then this time slot will be for burst code word, or we can also call this one as unique word or UW, and this is for station identification. SIC is the station identification code given here. This is the burst code word, and this is carrier and beat timing recovery. Again there is a guard time. So respectively in the preamble also the same thing will be there: guard time, then carrier and beat timing recovery, then code burst code word and station identification code word. And the last Q is nothing but the post amble. So it will include, a burst will include reference burst, preamble and traffic data. So this is the frame and burst format for the TDMA system. For TDMA, in a frame and burst formats, how we are sending the information. The received signal at the earth station consists of burst from all transmitting stations arranged in the frame format. As we have seen, the frame format will include the reference burst, preamble and traffic data. If the RF frequency carrier is converted to intermediate frequency, which is then demodulated, a separate preamble detector provides timing information for transmitter and receiver, along with a carrier synchronizing signal for the phase modulator. And in many systems, a station receives its own transmission along with the others in the frame, which can then be used for burst timing purposes. A reference burst is required at the beginning of each frame to provide timing information for the acquisition and synchronization of burst. So the reference burst will be used for acquisition and synchronization of burst. In the Intelsat international network, at least 2 reference stations are used, and one in the east and one in the west. These are designated primary reference stations, one of which is selected as the master primary, and each primary station is duplicated by a secondary reference stations, making 4 reference stations in all. That is, primary reference station will be selected as the master primary, and then again each primary station will duplicate, and already there are 2 stations, so one is east and another is in west. So the total 4 reference stations will be there. The fact that all the reference stations are identical means and that anyone can become the master primary. All the system timing is derived from the high stability clock in the master primary. A clock on the satellite is locked to the master primary, and this acts as the clock for the other participating earth stations, as master primary's clock will be acts as the clock for all the other earth stations. The satellite clock will provide a constant frame time, but the participating earth stations must make corrections for variations in the satellite range, since the transmitted burst from all the participating earth stations must reach the satellite in synchronism. In the Intelsat system, 2 reference bursts are transmitted in each frame. The first reference burst, which marks the beginning of a frame, is transmitted by a master primary and reference station and contains the timing information needed for the acquisition and synchronization of burst, that is the reference burst. The second reference burst, which is transmitted by a secondary reference station, provides synchronization but not acquisition information. The first will contain both, that is acquisition and synchronization. The second reference burst is ignored by the receiving earth station unless the primary or master primary station fails. It means that if primary and master primary station fails, then second burst is ignored by the receiving earth station. Now we'll see the reference burst. The reference burst that marks the beginning of a frame is subdivided into time slots or channels used for various functions, and this will differ in detail for different networks, as we already have seen that reference burst will include the guard time, then code and timing bit word CBW, and some of these basic channels that are usually provided here. Then guard time in the reference burst that is subdivided into the part. We have seen that the reference burst will be marked as the beginning of a frame and which will divided into the time slots. So that time slots we have seen that guard time, CBR, then code word, and after that the station identification code word. So the guard time is necessary between bursts to prevent the burst from overlapping. The guard time will vary from burst to burst depending on the accuracy with which the various bursts can be positioned within each frame. And carrier and beat timing recovery is the another time slot to perform coherent demodulation of the phase modulated carrier. A coherent carrier signal must first be recovered from the burst. An unmodulated carrier wave is provided during the first part of the CBR time slot. This is used as synchronizing signal for a local oscillator at the detector, which then produces an output coherent with the carrier wave. So this is the second time slot, carrier and beat timing recovery. The carrier in the subsequent part of the CBR time slot is modulated by a known phase change sequence which enables the beat timing to be recovered. Accurate beat timing is needed for the operation of the sample and hold function in the detector circuit. The third time slot in the reference burst is the burst code word, which is also known as the unique word. This is a binary word, a copy of which is stored at the each earth station. By comparing the incoming bits in a burst with the stored version of the burst code word, the receiver can detect when a group of received bits matches the bit burst code word, and this in turn provides accurate time reference for the burst position in the frame. A known bit sequence is also carried in the burst code word, which enables the phase ambiguity associated with the coherent detection to be resolved. And the third slot is the station identification code word. This identifies the transmitting station. Coordination and delay channels, or sometimes it is referred to as control and delay channel, is provided here, and the channel carries the identification number of the earth station being addressed and various codes used in connection with the acquisition and synchronization of burst at the addressed earth station. That is, various codes used in connection with the reference burst at the address earth station. It is necessary to know the propagation time delay to the satellite to implement burst acquisition and synchronization. So the station identification code, in that it is necessary to know the propagation time delay. In the Intelsat system, the propagation delay is computed from measurements made at the reference station and transmitted to the earth station in through the coordination and delay channels. The other channels in the Intelsat reference burst are other having three types of channel, that is TTY, telegram order wire channel, used to provide telegraph communications between earth stations. Service channel SC, which carries various network protocols and alarm messages, and voice order wire channel, used to provide voice communications between earth stations, and two voice order wire channels are provided here. So we can see in this diagram, this is the Intelsat having 2 millisecond frame. It is a frame 2 millisecond frame period, and which will include The B section is having composition of the reference burst R, and in that we can see this is the guard time symbol of nanoseconds, and this is the code and bit recovery. Then this is for unique code, and uh, here we can see that TTY and SC, and this is wow voice wire, voice order wire, and telegraph order wire. This is telegraph order wire TTY, and this is voice order wire. This is the reference bus which will include all these things. This is the code word here actually. Now into this preamble we can see that, and this is the traffic, voice order wire, service channel, telegraph type, unique word, and carrier and bit timing recovery, which will having the maximum time slot. So we can find out in a reference burst how the time slots will be partitioned. In this we will see the next is preamble and postamble. The preamble is the initial portion of a traffic burst which carries information similar to that carried in the reference burst. In some systems, the channel allocation in the reference burst and the preambles are identical. No traffic is carried in the preamble. As we have seen in the reference burst, the only difference between the preamble and the reference burst is that the preamble provides an order wire channel, and we know that in reference burst voice order wire channel will be there. For the Intelsat format, the preamble differs from the reference burst in that it does not provide a coordination and delay channel, that is coordination and delay channel CDC. Otherwise the two are identical. Means in reference burst, in Intelsat format, preamble and reference burst are differ that it it will not provide the coordination delay channel, that is CDC will not be provided in the Intelsat. As with the reference burst, the preamble provides a carrier and beat timing recovery channel and also a burst code word channel for burst timing purposes. The burst code word in the preamble of a traffic burst is different from the burst code word in the reference burst, which enables the two types of burst to be identical. In certain phase detection systems, the phase detector must be allowed time to recover from one burst before the next burst is received by it. That is termed as decoder quenching, and a time slot referred to as postamble is allowed for this function. The postamble, we can see here, many systems are designed to operate without a postamble. The another point is the carrier recovery, carrier and bit recovery. A factor which must be taken into account with TDMA is that the various bursts in a frame lack coherence, so that the carrier recovery must be repeated for each burst. This applies to the traffic as well as the reference burst, where the carrier recovery circuit employs a phase lock loop, that is a problem known as the hang-up can be occur here. This arises when the loop moves to an unstable region of its operating characteristics. The loop operation is such that it eventually returns to a stable operating point, but the time required to do this may be unacceptably long for burst type signals. On one alternative method, they utilizes a narrowband tuned circuit filter to recover the carrier that we see in the next diagram. The QPSK signal, which has been down converted to a standard intermediate frequency of 140 MHz, is quadrupled in frequency to remove the modulation. The input frequency must be maintained at the resonant frequency of the tuned circuit, which requires some form of automatic frequency control. Because of the difficulties inherent in working with high frequencies, the output frequency of the quadrupler is down converted from 560 to 40 megahertz, and the AFC is applied to the voltage controlled oscillator used to make the frequency conversion. So here we can see that the carrier recovery circuit has been given. There are number of band pass filters have been used. The input frequency is 140 megahertz, that is quadrupler frequency, and that has been down converted to the 140 megahertz. So this is the circuit which will be used for carrier recovery circuit with a single tuned circuit and AFC. The AFC circuit is a form of phase lock loop in which the phase difference between input and output of a single tuned circuit is held at 0, and then only the circuit will be in lock state, which ensures that the 40 megahertz input remains at the center of the tuned circuit response curve. Any deviation of the phase difference from 0 generates a controlled voltage which is applied to the VCO in such a way as to bring the frequency back to the required value. Interburst interference is a problem with the tuned circuit method because the energy stored in the tuned circuit. Avoidance of interburst interference requires careful design of the tuned circuit and possibly the use of a post amble. So in this way, in this lecture, we have seen about the TDMA, the reference burst, then post amble burst, and what are the different time slots in the reference burst we have utilized, and how to avoid the overlapping of the burst, and how it will work for the Intelsat satellites, and what is difference between the post amble and the reference burst in the TDMA frame. Also we have seen the bit rate, frame rate here. So in the next lecture again we are continuing in the TDMA. Only this much part is not enough. TDMA will include more other parameters in the frame. Thank you.